What do you do if you are married to someone who is morbidly obese? That's a serious issue and we don't talk about it enough in the church. So welcome to this edition of Ask Sheila. I am Sheila from To Love, Honor, and Vacuum. And this month, January of 2019, as we are getting ready for the new year, I know a lot of us are thinking about goals and of course then you inevitably think about how you have to get healthy. Well, I decided that I wanted to dedicate this month to talking about the little habits that we can put in place so that our lives can become the fulfilling, purposeful thing that God meant for us to do. Because quite often the habits that we have keep us from having the big life that God intended. And the whole reason that I thought about doing this series was actually because of a woman who commented on the blog back in November. So I just want to read you her comment, okay? She says, as the wife of a morbidly obese man, I mourn when the Bible says things like, rejoice in the wife of your youth, or the husband of your youth in our cases. It just makes me so sad to know that by the time he loses the weight, if that day ever even comes at all, he or we won't be young and youthful and attractive like we are or could have been in the years wasted. Youth is such a fleeting thing and such a precious time to spend with your spouse. That's not to say that sex and marriage as you age isn't also wonderful, because I know that it can be or is, but there's something special about when you're young. So special that even the Bible points to it on multiple occasions. And it just makes me feel so sad and mournful that I won't be experiencing that youthful passion since my husband has gotten so big and is so lazy in so many areas of his life, particularly sexually. Okay, and you know, we can talk all we want about how you should accept your spouse no matter what size they are, and about how beauty is only on the inside. But you know, when you're morbidly obese, that does matter. It really does. And she's talking about just sexually, and I'm not even talking about being attracted to your spouse. There are simple things that are more difficult when you're bigger. I wrote a post on how to have sex when your husband has a really big belly. Like, things can get in the way. They really can. Or then there's the issue of just not being as energetic and able to do things as easily, or just always being tired. And when you are really overweight, that can also affect your libido. Like, these things do affect us sexually, but they also affect our health. You know, when we get married and we sign up in sickness and in health, most of us aren't thinking that the health problems that we're going to go through with our spouse are something that could have been prevented. You know, you can skate by in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. You can be really unhealthy. You can not eat very nutritious food, and you can still get by. But in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, it really does catch up with you. You need knee replacements, hip replacements. You lose energy. When you get viruses, you don't recover as much. Like, this stuff matters. And for a lot of us, we're going to end up being caregivers to spouses who just didn't take care of themselves when they could. And so I want to talk in this quick video about what to do when your spouse just won't get healthy and you need them to. This woman went on to write other comments, and she talked about how she's been trying to help her husband stay accountable to some of his goals. Like, he said that he wanted to lose weight, but then they would go to a family Thanksgiving dinner where he would take like 3 helpings, and then he would take 2 different desserts with heaping vanilla ice cream. And, you know, she used to whisper to him, whoa there, remember you can have leftovers tomorrow, but that never worked. And she found over the years that the more she did that, the more he did the exact opposite. And so she's just beside herself because he just will not lose the weight. And you know what? There is absolutely nothing that you can do to get your husband or your wife to change. You cannot change their behavior. That is something which they are absolutely responsible for themselves. You can't do anything about it. But you can do some things. And so I just want to talk about some of those things that are within your power. When you think about it, most people gain weight for 2 reasons. Your inputs are too big and your outputs are too small, meaning you're taking in too much, and especially too much of the wrong thing, and you're not expending enough energy, you're not burning enough calories. Now, there could be other issues. There could be hormonal issues, thyroid issues, metabolic issues. I'm not going to talk about those right now. So what can you as a spouse do to help your spouse lose weight? First of all, watch what's in your house. Okay, there is absolutely no reason for there to be cookies or chips or pop or any sugary thing in your house. There really isn't. I remember when we took our girls on a cruise when they were 2.5 and 5, The one thing they remember about that cruise is that they got Fruit Loops for breakfast because we never had sugar cereals, and this was such a huge big deal to be on this cruise with sugar cereals. The other thing that I do, sometimes there are times when there is a lot of sugar in the house. I was given a lot of chocolate over Christmas, and so I took all of my chocolates and I put them in little baggies and then I freeze them. And then I'm allowed one of these baggies a day. So instead of all the chocolate sitting out on my counter for me to grab, I put things in portion sizes and then I take it out in the morning, and that's what I'm allowed to eat that day. That works really well. But even if you can't control your spouse's portions, you can control what's in the house. Now, what if your husband goes and buys stuff when he's out? Or your wife, by the way. Like, what if goes to McDonald's for breakfast? Well, if you know that they're going to go to McDonald's for breakfast, then you just make a different dinner to balance out the calories. And you can tell him or her, you know, if you want to do McDonald's for breakfast, that's fine. But then at night, we're just going to do salmon on a bed of spinach, you know, to balance things out. If you want to eat a healthy breakfast at home, then we can do something like a chicken lasagna for dinner, you know, because you want to look at overall calories. That's fine to do. You can also talk about budgeting. You know, a lot of the reason that people eat out is because they have spare money or that debit card. If you go to a cash budget, you can actually cure a lot of that eating out. If you pack your lunches, if you don't have your debit card to eat out or to grab breakfast on the go, you're less likely to do those things. And you know, if you add up all the amount of money that people spend on lunches out and breakfast out over the year, and you could say, like, let's say that your husband spends $4,000 doing that. Well, what else could he have gotten for that $4,000? And you can ask him, what does he really want in his life? You know, maybe he wants a new video game system. Not that I'm a big fan of video games, but if that's a big motivator, do it. Maybe he wants a new camera. Maybe he wants a new couch. I don't know. But pick some big ticket item that he wants, and then you can make it a goal. Like, if you don't eat out that much this year, you can even have an eating out budget, then we can take what you would have spent and we can buy something you really want. So that's a good way too. So that's how you can control inputs. And then how do you control outputs? How do you output more? Just do more active things. Start going for a walk every day after dinner. Do things like develop habits that are more active. Go for a hike every weekend. Just get out and move. Take a ballroom dancing class, or if you just won't do that, you know, go cross-country skiing. A lot of men are really motivated when there's some sort of competition involved. So get a Fitbit. Okay, here is my Fitbit. Love my Fitbit. My husband has one too. And that, you know, that urge that, okay, I need to do 8,000 steps a day, or I need to do 10,000 steps a day. Well, then if he sees he's only at 6,798, he might go out and have a walk. My brother-in-law uses a Fitbit, and he just paces all day while he's on the phone with clients. He gets like 24,000 steps a day because he spends his whole day pacing. You know, maybe that's something your husband can do. But, you know, we can encourage our spouse. Making them feel badly doesn't tend to encourage them, but there are things that you can do just by making sure that bad stuff isn't in your house, making sure that you are are getting out there and getting active with him or her, and then maybe working on the budget side so that eating out isn't as much of a thing. And even on date nights, don't let date nights revolve around going out for dinner. Let date nights revolve around something that doesn't involve food. And let's stop using food as a reward or a comfort thing, and start thinking about food as something which fuels our bodies when we eat the right stuff to keep us healthy. So I hope that helps. I'm going to leave some links to other posts that I've got on how to help us spouse keep healthy, because I have written a lot over this in the years. But I just want to say to you, if this is a problem in your marriage, it's okay. Like, it really is. This is a legitimate thing to struggle with. And I feel for you. And I really hope that all of us, especially us in North America, can realize that we do need to get healthy and we do need to make some changes, because we were meant for so much more than these small lives that many of us are living. And we can't do that if we don't have the energy and we don't have the health to carry them out.